Hello and welcome back to Free Dad Raid Shadow Legends free to play for 2024 day 14. We get a nice experience boost for this day. When it comes to the rest of the week, we're really looking at the shard. Really interested to see what the speed gear is going to do. When it comes to our other daily logins, so we were able to get our since we're day 14, we got the second of our champions, Jizzo, which attacks one enemy two times on the A1, has a shield and a counterattack on the A2, then grants an extra turn, and then attacks one enemy, 80% chance of placing a provoke. So this provoke could be nice in the Magma Dragon if we decide to use them there. It is on the A3, so I'm unsure if that's going to be useful to us. But we do have some exciting news. We have 5 new champions getting added to Raid Shadow Legends, and they're actually all currently on Raid Shadow Legends right now. We'll go through them and we'll kind of talk some thoughts about these from a free to play early and mid game perspective. So, this first one is going to be a daily login champion. So, you will log in 7 days between now and you'll need to start by February 27th to be able to get this champion by March 5th. After March 5th, this is no longer going to be active. Um, if you look on their Discord, it does seem like these champions, all 5 of them, will actually no longer be active after March 5th. So, the really nice part about these is you get a free legendary champion, and this one is pretty good from what I can see in the kit. It's going to help us out a lot of different areas, especially ones that we might have been struggling with. So I'm super excited. It is just going to take a little bit more time to be able to get this, but that's going to allow us to build gear, maybe level up some gear, so that way this champion is ready to go. So let's talk about the kit. So attacks one enemy, 50% chance, books to 75% of placing a big version of the decreased defense for 2 turns. If the target is a boss, this debuff cannot be resisted. The really nice part about this being if it's a boss, this is the only debuff that this champion gives. Or, yeah, that this champion would give. So you do not need to build them with accuracy if you're going to be focused on dungeons. Um, all other areas of the content, when it comes to like your arena, because this champion is an attack-based champion, it does hit pretty hard from the looks of it. We haven't seen any multipliers yet, but it does look like it hits pretty hard. You probably wouldn't want to focus on accuracy anyways, because you hopefully will not be at a point where you're using the A1. So accuracy is not going to be really big, which will be great, especially early game, mid game. You do not have the kit to really make this champion hit really hard, or you do not have the gear that makes this champion hit really hard and have the accuracy. So on the A2, attacks one enemy. Every second use of this skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. So there's a gear set called Reflex gear set. So it has a certain percentage of a chance to decrease the cooldown of a skill. So it can essentially decrease this to a booked 3 turn to a 2 turn. We also have our Relentless gear. We have been getting some good Relentless gear. If you guys remember, we got that we got the crit damage gloves on there. And I'll show you a piece after this. And we did get a triple roll on crit rate on one of the other pieces. So we're able to build up more crit rate to make those gloves viable for someone. And who knows, it might be him because he also ignores 25% of the target's defense. And if the target is a boss, we'll ignore 100% of that target's defense. Um, Going to be really great for Clan Boss, going to be really great for Spider, especially with his second turn being AoE. He can hit the Spider really big, and then we can get a nice AoE every other turn. On the last one, he has another AoE, so attack all enemies before attacking. He's going to buff up himself, so he puts an increased crit damage, and then a 30%, which is the big version of an increased speed on this champion. And it books down to a 3 turn. A lot of these books will go into damage, which is nice to see for him. His passive is really unique, so it inflicts 50% more damage against targets under a HP burn. So if you do have an HP burner on your team, he's going to hit even harder on top of all these. And then he receives 25% less damage from enemies under an HP burn. So if we could somehow work in an HP burner to our clan boss team, he's going to be able to survive longer with just this passive. If we can keep that HP burn up, then every fifth skill used by this champion deals 200% more damage. That's why, and when you look at Reflex versus Relentless, I personally am going to be leaning towards Relentless because he's going to be taking more turns versus having those skills just go on or a decrease for how many times that it's going to take your turns to be able to do it. He's just going to take more turns, more decreased defense down. Be able to provide it more consistently. So I'm really leaning towards that. And then he has a 30% ally attack in dungeons. So you can kind of see he's built for dungeons. He does look pretty cool. I like the sword. I like the look of all these champions. I think that Monsters Hunter, who they did the collaboration with, just has good champions regardless. And then we're really hoping these might be 6-star speed with some crit rate damage, and then we can hopefully get maybe an attack percentage here with some crit rate, and then we'll be able to easily pop them in and hopefully be able to get to our crit rate cap. So we'll be able to get that champion in a couple days. Let's go ahead and just look at the other champions real quick. So it looks like we're going to have a Knight Revenant, who is a spirit. Here we go. Looks pretty sweet. I like this weapon that they have. Let's see. His A1 attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of 2 random buffs on all allies for 1 turn, increasing the duration of 2 random buffs. That will be really good for Clan Boss 2, because we're putting those increased heals, increased continuous heals. We're putting maybe some increased defense. So he's going to be able to increase on all allies for 2 turns, with booked up to, what is this, a 55% chance. So that could be really impactful for a lot of different content. Attacks all enemies, places an increased defense and then a shield on all items. The shield is equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. So that's really important here where it says it's equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. They are a support base with a pretty high base HP. So you're going to be able to put a bigger shield on, like the champion that we just talked about, that was attack base, that has a lower HP to begin with. And then he maybe will turn around and put these on a increase duration. It looks like it's going to be for 2 turns, so maybe he can go again, keep it going for 2 turns since the turns is kind of ticked. If the target is a boss, these buffs are protected. So that's really good. I don't know off the top of my head any bosses that actually remove buffs from us. So I'm curious if we have a boss that actually removes those buffs. But still, having protective buffs are going to be really good. Damage is going to be based off of HP for this skill. Then removes all debuffs from all allies, places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns. We have a cleanse, thing and stuff like the Nethril Spider, Frost Spider when we get to that. If a boss is present in a current round, this buff is protected. So once again, if we have any bosses that remove buffs, this will be really good. Then the passive fills this champion's turn meter by 5% every time a buff is placed on them. So hopefully that's going to fill whenever they place those 2 buffs on them. Then also heals this champion by 5% of their max HP whenever a debuff placed on them expires or removes. So when you do this cleanse, they should get a nice little heal depending on the amount of buffs. Increase ally speed in dungeons by 30%. I think overall going to be a solid champion, but for the daily login, I would definitely take the other one. Next one is going to be a Dark Elf. It's going to be a Void champion. I think this one looks really cool too. Got a little eye there. Really big sword. Can't kind of zoom out to see them. Got little wings on him. Kind of cool, little tail. Let's see what's going on. Long skills. Attacks one enemy, ignores 15% of target's defense if this attack is critical. Also, 20% chance of granting an extra turn. It's a little built-in relentless, which is kind of nice. Attacks one enemy will ignore strengthen, stone skin, increased defense, ally protection. It would be nice if there was a shield also that ignores 15% of the target's defense if the attack is critical. Decreases the target's attack by 10%. Huh. So that's kind of interesting how it decreases their attack. Um, but overall, I think pretty strong skill. With really good hit on the multipliers, I think. So on the A3, we have attacks while enemies, ignores 15% of the target's defense. If the attack is critical, definitely build them with crit rate. And then this one is actually going to decrease their defense. Could actually be some good tangent or synergy with these two skills with doing a longer term dungeon, such as the clan boss or the Hydra, because you're going to decrease their defense, you're going to decrease their attack, so there could be some good synergy there. On an A4, the rare A4 sighting, attack one enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense, fills the champion by turn meter by 50% if this is critical. That's a nice skill. Damage inflicted by the skill cannot be decreased by enemies' passive or masteries, except for passive skills of bosses. So that's really nice. We have like Harima that decreases like the ignoring defense on her passive. So that's going to be really good with this because it's not going to allow this to be buffed down to ignore less of the defense. Damage inflicted by the skill cannot be increased by either the champion's massive or passive or ally skills except when attacking bosses. So that one's kind of interesting. You do have some built-in masteries that you'll want to use to ignore different percentages of them, such as like Helm Smasher, ignore 25% or chance, I think. Which kind of sucks because it's just on one of the skills and not on all of them. This is a secret skill and only can become available when any three of this champion skills were when any three of the champion skills are used in a round. So I guess you just kind of use one and then you'll get this. I wonder how many people will try to open up with this A1, try to get the extra turn, and then be able to just hopefully kill anybody there. And then we got the passive, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 25% of their max HP for 2 turns at the end of their attack. At the end of their turn, that's kind of nice. This champion cannot receive critical hits while under a shield buff placed by this champion. That's kind of nice. So it's like in Feeble where you can only weak hit them, you won't be able to crit hit this champion. So going to be able to keep them alive. It is an HP champion too with incredibly high HP. This champion seems interesting. If we are by some rare chance lucky enough to get a Void Legendary champion within the time frame, remember we only have until March 5th, I think the champion will be pretty good and I think we'll enjoy it. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. So the next one is a Barbarian. Where are we at? RN Archer. We have the A1, attacks on enemy, increase accuracy buff on the champion for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a stun, books to 100. If the attack is on a boss, has a 75% of decreased speed. Some bosses are immune to decreased speed, so it's good sometimes, good or bad other times. Also decreases the turn meter of enemies under a stun. Under a stun debuff for that's kind of nice too because so if you stun them, you don't want them to be able to take a turn longer. You want to kind of control them a little bit more. So it looks like a good control. Fills this champion's turn meter. Fills this champion's turn meter of all allies by 10% if a 30% decreased speed buff is placed. Okay, so they're able to do a fill. Not quite sure where you'd really utilize this. I guess you can kind of two-fold it. You can put the stun for wave control. It's only one turn. You decrease. Not really sure. So we have attacks on enemies places a hex debuff for 2 turns and a provoke for 1 turn. That's a really good skill. If it's a boss, places a hex for 3 turns and a provoke for 2 turns. So this just screams Hydra. There's a head that you can put a provoke on so they do not cleanse, which was really nice. And then Hex has the ability to spread damage. So that'll be really nice. We're nowhere close to touching Hydra yet, but she would be a good champion for it. Then her passive heals all allies by 10% of their max HP when attacking enemies under Hex. If there are multiple champions on the same team with this skill, will only activate, or only one will activate. So it's kind of like a leech. So a leech debuff has the ability to heal you based on the damage that it does, but a leech is only going to heal that champion versus all of them. I think this is going to be really strong for a lot of different content because you're able to put the hex buff on for a while, and then anytime this champion gets another turn, right? It's just this champion. Heals all allies by 10% when attacking enemies under hex. It should just be this champion. Then we have increases champion's defense by 5% each time the champion receives a hit from the enemy under hex. So you're going to be able to put more defense, and they are a defense-based champion. Overall, I think really good, can be very useful. And then let's go to our last one. So this is a Shadowkin. They are going to be a magic, and this is going to be our fusion. Sorry, going to be our fragment summon, not fusion. So let's be going, I think this starts on Friday. So let's go ahead and look at the kit to see what we're going to think. So A1, attacks one enemy 3 times, has a 30% chance of placing a 25% decrease or a 25% weaken for 2 turns. Okay, so the A2 attacks one enemy 4 times. Each hit increases this champion's turn meter by 5%, so it gets a 40% turn meter boost. Then places an increased speed buff on all allies. Kit is really screaming Fire Knight. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Before attacking, puts a 50% increased attack on this champion, so get a hit harder. First and second hit have a booked up to 100% chance of a leech. Third and fourth hit have a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack buff. Let's see, I'll book down to 3 turns and 3 turns. Okay. The passive increases damage this champion deals by 1% for every 1% of HP loss, stacks up to 50%. Okay, this champion's damage doubles if a target is under decreased defense. That's going to be really good. This should stack well if we ever get an unkillable team that doesn't do block damage and just puts a killable buff on them because they essentially just set at 1% the entire time. It will just be, here's your kind of your increase speed champion, so they'll eventually be a tune out with it. Prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive by 1% when hit by a fatal hit. That's really nice. So you have some built-in defense, so if you take a really big hit, they have the ability to at least counter back, get the leech on in the first couple of hits, and then they might be able to heal themselves up to max there. Let's see if this skill prevents this champion's death. Heals them by 50% of their max HP, so that's a nice little heal too. Will not prevent the champion's death if they are under a heal reduction debuff. That is kind of odd. I don't know who gives heal reductions, that this would really be anti-countering. And then the Aura is going to be increase ally speed in dungeons by 30%. So a lot of dungeon content here. So let's talk about it from a perspective of this account. And then I want to talk about a perspective from my other account that I have that I've been playing for about 4 years. So on this account, I think this champion would be absolutely amazing. I think it would help us in a lot of the different dungeons, just being able to do burst damage on those bosses. I would love to see an AoE in the champion's kit to help with the waves or just some form of control, maybe with the A1. But still, she's going to be really good. It's kind of cool, the feathers there. Going to be really good overall. Um, it just really comes down to the age-old question of shards. So right now we have, if we get rid of all these pop-ups, one ancient and one void. I don't know if they dumbed down the events during fragment summons for lower level accounts. We're really going to try to stay under like this 40 mark, or sorry, 50 mark by the time it starts. So maybe if it does, hopefully it's like a hey, 0 to or 1 to 50 and then 50 to above. They break it out into two different brackets. So we are going to attempt to go for this champion. We do have a couple different ways that we can get extra shards in time for any of them, and we're hopefully going to get some just from farming dungeons. There is a chance to do this. It's going to take a little bit of focus and dedication and then some luck, quite frankly, from the clan boss to be able to get this. But I think this champion is going to be a good use for us. It's going to be another legendary. It's going to be somebody good for the faction wars. That legendaries are just hard to get. Fragment summons are easier than the fusions. They're a lot easier than the fusions because you don't have to level up champions and then ascend them. If this was a fusion, it would be an instant no, we could not get this champion. So we are going to go for it on free dad day, what was it, 14. We're going to go for this champion and hopefully cross our fingers, try our hardest. And if we get it, great. If we don't, hopefully we're going to get some good rewards from these events. I think we would probably do the events anyways, just to do the double dipping. So we are going to try for it. And with that in mind, I am not going to be pulling any more of these mystery shards unless it is for our lovely quest that we have that's always summon 3 champions. So we'll be summoning just those, and then we'll try to save those up as much as possible so that we can get to it. Now, when it comes to my other account that is more built out, I am not going to be going for this champion. I do not think they're going to be able to provide enough utility for that account. And with there being a progressive award on those champions that you can get for the Lady Mikage fusion, I am going to be going for that instead. Um, that's going to be the update when it comes to new champions. We talked last video about Hell Hades having a free to play challenge coming up for 2024. Content creators can get a part of it. He just pushed out a form. You'll be able to submit a form if you are a content creator, and then you'll be able to partner up with a couple other content creators and do some teams. They're doing a point system. The interesting part about this is they're not allowed to utilize legendaries. I'm all for challenges. I'm all for the free to play lifestyle, but I think this game is a lot of RNG. So you'll be able to use the luck that you get or use the unluckiness that you get. And I really want to see where this account goes. So I am not going to be filling out that Google form to have a chance to even get in there. It's only a 3-month challenge, I know. So we could essentially do both of them, but I don't have the time with the 2 kids. So that's kind of the update on that. And then I'll just kind of give you a quick update on what we're going to do. And then we're going to do a little bit of this Doom Tower. I'll skip ahead for when we get to the boss so we can see what that's going to look like. When it comes to our clan boss, our auto run for normal is not working. It's only at like 3.4 and we need our 3.63. So I'm really tempted to put some books in some champions to make this at least a 3.7 on auto run. So that way I save time and I can throw more keys into this to have a better chance to get rewards. I might do that. I might not today. When it comes to our arena, we're just really floating around this silver 4. We're still just picking off our ones, getting our silvers. And then the really cool highlight, we were able to get a champion at 6 Ascended, or maybe it was 5 Ascended. I think it was 5 Ascended. We were able to get that champion 5 Ascended. So we're going to bust through a couple of these today, and we're going to see if we can get this done. So we got a win a superior magic potion, stage 10 or higher of the magic keep. So let's go. We'll see. We're stage 10. It looks like stage 12 is pretty comfortable. Let's see if we can get stage 13 with the better champions. Puts up a shield and buff, so we want to make sure somebody can remove. I think the remove isn't dependent on the affinity because it does it before. So we should be fine with Sun Wukong. Let's damage for the waves. Let's put in our healing combination. We'd love to put him in, but it's going to be weak affinity for damage. Don't need to worry about a block revive. Maybe the decreased defense would be nice. We don't really have anybody else built. We just kind of have these champions here. So let's go ahead and put our blue guy in. He's been kind of key for us. So let's put the blue guy in. I think it doesn't have to be on auto, but we're just going to let it go on auto. The team works as most of these teams work that you see, besides when it gets to the boss. And it's really about just taking that shield away. So let's skip to the boss here. All right, so we are at the boss right now. So they start with the big shield. Her first skill will provide some buffs. So we're not going to do that strip yet. All it is about is trying to get down these side ants. So we don't want to do the strip yet. Let's go ahead and just try to freeze them. So we got one freeze. Let's see if we can get a sleep. No sleep there. He did put the buffs up there. So let's go ahead and just continue to take these down. He's going to go down first, and then we'll just kind of progressively go. Put our increased speed up. Maybe try to sleep. No sleep there. Let's nuke. This should be it for this one. Big hit. Did not expect that. So let's go ahead and strip this. We got that there. I do not know. So I don't know why I didn't just use that whenever it was there. I probably should have, because it would have saved us a little bit from there. Let's boost our damage dealer. Let's do a little poke. Let's get those poisons out. Let's extend these buffs so he stays alive. We really need to make sure he's moving fast so we can get back before this champion puts all those back up. So next turn they're going to, and he should be able to steal the next turn. Let's keep doing the damage. I'm not worried about reviving yet. I'm more worried about making sure this champion stays alive. Ooh, we did have the block buffs, so this one should be good. I totally forgot about block buffs. Sometimes the things that you're not even looking at are really impactful. So this one was good, so let's go ahead and try the next one out. And I'll skip ahead once we get to the boss. All right, so we are back at the boss, so let's try to head and take down our side people over here. Perfect, got a little sheep there. Let's see if we can get a freeze. Got a freeze, that's great. So let's just attack this one. So we get the buffs. So we'll try to make sure that we're utilizing his skill when need to. No reason to put that. Let's try to strip those. Got those. Increase attack. Gonna make him hit harder. Put the increased speed. Try to get a freeze. No freeze. Should be able to sleep. Nope. Okay, let's get some more damage here. Let's increase those buffs. Big hit. Okay, let's get that freeze. We got the freeze. We have the block buffs on right now. So let's just kind of work this champion back from frozen. So let's go over here. I'm going to assume that the one tick is going to kill him. So we're going to cross our fingers. Let's just use the AoE just in case. Don't really need to heal or boost. So let's just A1. A1 again. We did get that back, so that's going to be really beneficial. Let's kind of A1 cycle here. It'd be nice to get some of these poisons on. I'm going to boost you. Hopefully she's going to have enough in her to lap the boss again. So that way we can time that block buffs. Increased speed is going to help. Or not block dove. The block damage. There we go. And now he's going to attack. Everyone's protected besides Kale, but Kale is tanky. Did not put any up, so let's just go ahead and A1 cycle again. Let's increase the healing. Just the lovely A1 cycles, and really hope that we get that superior potion this turn. They did go ahead and buff, so really just waiting for this champion to go ahead and get their turn. We can get both poisons, got it. Let's steal those, and let's hit auto. Did we get it? We did not. So let's just go ahead and replay this one, and then I'll just skip ahead for when we do get that. We went ahead and got one, so let's go ahead and click on that mission. So we got this mission, upgrade a champion to level 60. We already got that mission. Reach Silver 2 in Classic Arena. We got that mission. We cleared Stage 7. We got that mission. And then clear Stage 10 or higher of the Minotaur Labyrinth 10 times. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, and we'll check back in when that's able to muster a couple more of these. It looks like we're going to have a hard stop after this one because we are going to get to our second champion to rank 6. We do not have any current food even at 5-star. So that one's going to be kind of hard. I have been trying to just get champions leveled up to a certain point, so that way if we did decide to go to for the fragment summons, that we can easily have the food already leveled up for upgrading, so that way we can get some burst points there. So we're just going to do this last one. Is win 10 5 or 6-star artifacts from stage 10 or higher on Ice Golem's Peak. I will get that done later on tonight, but I wanted to dive into Doom Tower so we can get to our next boss. So let's go ahead. We're going to be using the same team. I would absolutely love to take him to 5-star. I have the food ready to take him to 5-star. I don't think I'm going to have the Ascension. I do have the Ascension ready, so let's go ahead and send him. We'll get some more basic stats there. Love to upgrade these, but we're not going to. So let's go ahead and see if we can continue to push. It looks like the reward at the boss is going to be some chickens. Not sure what type of chickens, but it looks like we got a couple chickens, some energy in here. We're really trying to get to this one. So this is going to be really impactful for us to get that void shard. And that's kind of the goal before this fusion gets started. They typically do open up with that fragment summons. So let's go ahead, keep the fingers crossed that we can go ahead and get this done. And it's really going to depend on what those 2 next bosses are. And we're just going to RNG it, hopefully. So I'm going to skip ahead whenever we do get to that boss, or if we get some really tough waves that we'll need to kind of talk through. We'll get to that point, but I will check back in when we get there. We are back. We just made it to floor 30. It is the Scarab King, which I think is one of the hardest bosses in Doom Tower that really needs either a shield set champion and somebody kind of extend that so that you can kind of take it down. Somebody either in like regeneration that can solo it, destroying max HP. Poisons are really good, so if you can get a poison champion in regeneration set, that is going to be able to outlast the Scarab King boss. There are a couple champions that can just cheese the Scarab King and just one-man it, but what we're going to do, we're just going to put in our team and we're going to give it a go. Hopefully we can get somewhere with it. I'm not exactly sure how this one is going to go. It's probably going to go very poorly, and we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and either pull some better champions or get some better gear that's going to actually help us with it. There are some accessories that give you a shield based on the damage that you do. So being able to have those champions that will self-shield themselves, that's going to be really impactful because then the Scarab boss won't get that counter attack when a champion not under a shield buff attacks them. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that will end up killing us here. So let's just go ahead. We'll finish taking care of this team. It does look like it's a little irritating with these over here. So they do damage based on whenever a champion kills them. So like you can see he healed, but then he also did damage. All those spices get you. So let's go ahead, try to freeze, didn't get the freeze. Bigger hit, didn't get it, so let's no freeze again. So it's just A1 cycle, make sure we have all our hills back. And we'd really love to get a champion that can put up a shield on the whole team. Unfortunately, that's not our daily login champion that we're getting. That wasn't our champion before for the first week, the second week. So let's see how this goes. So we're going to try to put a shield or some poisons. Counters attack. He puts provoke on everybody. And I think it's just good game at this point. I don't think I'm going to be able to come back and get out of this. Nobody has accuracy or resistance built in them. Nobody is fast enough to heal. Yeah. That was pretty bad. Shield, shield, shield. I wonder if he is built correctly, if he could solo being the strong affinity. I do not see a way through this one. I think we would have really loved to get to that point. I know she gives a shield on our A1 for the lowest one. You unfortunately don't give a shield. I think that's going to be it for today's video because I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that Scarab boss. Um, so that's probably going to be it for us for our Doom Tower progression for now until we can get either one of those champions or maybe some better skill when it comes to being able to deal with that boss's kit. I think starting with a shield set is going to be key for us. So that way we can try to burst some damage. The shield set that we do have is only a 3-star shield set. So we're going to need a better option on the shield set. I believe to get a shield set, you have to farm the Fire Knight. So that's not something we can farm at a high level yet. The good part is going to be if we can get this fragment summon, they have multi-hits on every single skill. So we're going to be able to knock down that shield a lot faster. So there is a chance that we're going to be able to, um, that didn't work out. So let's go ahead and retry this and let's just do it on auto. We have champions that are hidden that we can use. Not really. So I think it's probably going to be the best team. So let's see. I think this is going to be a win for us if we can just time our skills better. So big hit there. Let's A1s. Health swap. That was intense. So let's restart that. Kind of forgot that champion did a health swap. So that is going to be our main target when it comes to all of our damage. Health swap again. How did that champion get such a big turn? Last time they did not. Do they boost up when they get boost? Yeah. Can I recover from this? Let's see. Got a little hill. Not exactly the big hill that I wanted. Let's go ahead and work on this guy. Okay, we're back up to full strength, so let's give a big whack there. All right, let's put some poisons and a decrease. We got an AoE, decreased defense. Let's try to kill this person before they get a turn. Did not happen, so let's just take out this person. Now we can take that one out. You're gonna die. What does this one do? This one is our stun. So let's just stun this guy. Did not work. Okay, let's A1 cycle there, and we should be able to kill them, and we have the decrease down and the nukes ready. So we didn't get to go first. Okay, so it's big hit. Let's decrease down. Let's block this. Hopefully we kill somebody. We got one. Okay, you're dead, so hopefully we can get a pop-up before we die. There we go. Easy enough. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you in tomorrow's video for a shard pool video on the main account.